Welcome to the MS&Me Radio Network. The broadcast shows are for informational and entertainment purposes only. They are not designed to provide listeners with specific personal, medical, or counseling advice. Individuals with a medical issue should always consult their healthcare provider. MS&Me is not responsible for content of individual shows. The views expressed by show host or the guest are their own. Enjoy the show. Welcome to MS&Me Interviews. I am your host, Erica Lyons Richardson. We are continuing our We Have MS series for 2018. In honor of Father's Day, I have a very special guest with me this week, my dad, Dr. Carl Lyons. Welcome, Dad.
Thank you. Good to be here.
And happy Father's Day.
Where's my present?
Okay, you get that after the show. I have interviewed my mother on the show, so it's wonderful to get my dad's perspective on raising a child with MS, lupus, Sjogren's, several other autoimmune diseases. Dad, when I was born and had health issues immediately, like several of my organs that were not functioning properly, did you just attribute it to the fact I was born early?
Really, I didn't know what to think. Like my wife's dad said, don't get attached to her. That child's not going to make it because there was so many issues.
Yeah.
And she was so little and tiny. And it was quite alarming, hurtful.
Yeah. For those who didn't listen to my interview with my mom, last year when we did that show, my childhood was a roller coaster of doctor's appointments, misdiagnosis. For example, I started walking early at 7 months, and then my kidneys failed, and I had to learn to walk again. So Dad went through that roller coaster as well with us. MS and autoimmune disease, it's not new to our family. Dad, you've had several relatives with autoimmune disease.
Yes, I lost a cousin to MS, and then they had diabetes. I had an uncle go blind. My grandfather uh, was one of those healthy farmers that done everything himself and taught me
Mm-hmm.
how to be self-sufficient and all of this. And he developed all these diseases and stuff in his later years. And it's just kind of alarming, to see somebody that just goes that quick.
That quickly, yeah. And you had to wonder if there's a genetic component. When I'm 5 years old, already receiving radiation for two thyroid tumors.
Well, you always go in denial. The
Mm-hmm.
first thing is, well, it's not me.
Right.
It's got to be her side,
Right.
and this kind of thing. And you really don't know what to think.
Mm-hmm.
And especially back then, and living in such a wilderness type area and had to go 60 miles to doctors and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And the doctors would not inform you and wasn't that knowledgeable, so you didn't know what to do. You was
Right.
just so confused.
And you can be totally honest here to help the other families that are listening around the globe. What did you really think was going on? Like when I was a child, I would be working with you on the car, which we often did. I was your little sidekick. And one minute I'd be working with you, and the next minute I had to lay on the couch and rest.
Well, it made me angry.
Yeah.
Number one feeling you get is anger. Uh, well, what's wrong now? You'd
Right.
say something like that, which was really not right, but you would say it. And you didn't have the right answers. You didn't know.
Right.
And why me? That's what you really feel inside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's an honest answer, and I appreciate that because that will help the other families who also feel the same way. Now, let's fast forward into my teen years and the hormonal changes that studies have shown trigger MS activity, and definitely they impacted me. I had stopped cheerleading due to the leg cramps. I stopped acting due to the heat of the lights on stage and was passing out trying to perform with the chorus. I would tell you I felt sick after our workouts at the gym while Eric was at his karate lessons. What did you think was going on with me?
Well, I didn't know, but I said there's something wrong. Um, Many times you were offered several scholarships and had a brilliant mind. I couldn't believe some of the things that you were offered.
Hmm.
Like when you were in the sixth grade, North Carolina University wanted to give you a scholarship and take you up there because she
Yeah.
was so advanced. And then when you got in a teen, well, you were progressing quickly.
Yeah.
You got into working at St. Vincent's in nuclear medicine.
Yeah.
You were a good actress. You could sing.
Hmm.
You could do this. You could do that. Then all of a sudden, it was all gone. I said,
Yeah.
"Oh God,
Yeah.
why?"
Yeah, I didn't know why myself, and I would blame myself. Why am I losing every part of me? And why can't the doctor give me answers as to why, everything I used to be able to do so easily now is so difficult? So back then, you never went to my doctor's appointments with me. It was always mom because you were working long hours. So it must have been really confusing to see so many of the symptoms without explanation. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, back then, I was working two and three jobs and doing this and doing that. That's what it took to do back then. But I never did go. And I was just aggravated that you had to go so much
Yeah.
to doctors and all. And since I've been going with you, I see that how really terrible it is
Hmm.
and what really takes place. And since I've been uh, taking care of you here,
Hmm.
uh, and haven't got to do nothing on my bucket list, by the way, and I'll be 74 this month. Uh, the thing that really has helped me, I guess, would be uh, what I've come to see and know. Now this sounds kind of weird, but it's really made me a better person.
Hmm.
Cause everywhere I've taken her to appointments and all this stuff, I've never had so much difficulties with people and facilities trying to put her with wheelchairs and all of this.
Yeah.
It's been terrible, and people are so rude.
Yeah.
Even a policeman, when I was taking her to hear her son sing at the school, didn't open the door for me. Looked at me and walked ahead,
Hmm.
and I tried to open the door and navigate the wheelchair at the same time, for instance.
Yeah.
And I told him about it too. But so what I have been doing now for the last 2 or 3 years, and I go out to the store about every day. I do all the cooking around here, so I go and get
Yeah.
stuff, all this. But even in the stores, I'll give you two little short stories
Hmm.
um, that happened just this week.
Hmm.
Um, I was in a grocery store, and I had a couple of items I had to have to finish my dinner. And there was a lady in a one of those handicapped buggies, that
Hmm.
the stores furnish. And she was pulling up there, and she had her groceries, and they didn't have no bag boy. Nobody would help her,
Oh.
and she was reaching. She was old like myself,
Hmm.
and so I just put my stuff down, went and took charge, and unloaded it for her, and then bagged it and put her in her little basket.
Hmm.
And I told that cashier, I said, just leave my stuff there. I'll be right back. And I went to the car, and she drove out to her car. And how she done it without somebody helping her before, I don't know.
No, bless her heart.
But she opened the door, and I put her stuff in. And then
Yeah.
I had to help her get in the car.
Yeah.
And because she couldn't stand up good.
She was
And
exhausted.
I said, what are
Yeah.
you going to do when you get home? She said, my grandson will be there to help me because he lives next door. He'll come
Good.
and help me in the house. and stuff. But people are really cruel.
They
You
can
know,
be, yeah.
they can be that way, and I have noticed it so much. And one lady, I'll give you one more story. I
Uh-huh.
got 100 of them
Well, we
now.
know you're a storyteller.
Okay, but I was in everybody's store around here, Walmart,
Uh-huh.
and this lady come, and she was not very pleasant to look at.
Mhm.
Understandable, very much overweight, and she was in there, and she was wobbling behind her basket, and her husband was over there standing talking to a bunch of people, and she was trying. All she had was the heavy waters and cokes and stuff.
Mhm.
She couldn't lift them. The
Oh.
cashier couldn't lift them. She didn't come around to help her. So I unloaded that,
Mhm.
then put them back in her buggy, and helped her get around. Then her husband came over and said, "Well, thank you so much for helping my wife," like that. And I said, "Well, I wouldn't help her, but she is the best looking woman I've
Oh.
seen today, and you are a lucky man." And this woman reached over and hit him on the shoulder and said, "Why can't you be nice like that?" But anyway, it
Little kindness
makes you
goes
a
a
little
long way.
kinder and
Yeah.
sympathetic to people's handicaps.
Empathy. Yeah. We need empathy. That's what
Yeah,
we need more of in this day and age. We really do. And it is a shame that some of those places that you and I have went that are most inaccessible, I mean, they're just completely inaccessible to wheelchairs, have been doctors' offices or therapy
correct,
places.
correct.
And it's
And
shocking.
we went to one doctor, and the wheelchair got caught in a crack in the ramp
Yep.
and broke the wheel.
Hmm.
And I had to carry her, and she's not a small person.
Oh, thank you for sharing that.
But anyway, I had to carry her because the doctor's office, I went in there,
Hmm.
they wouldn't even let me use one of their rolling chairs.
No.
Says, no, that's unsafe.
Yeah. And
So,
they wouldn't help.
and
They
nobody
wouldn't
helped me.
help. Mm-mm.
You know, that's, people will look at you, stand
So
there
here's
looking
my
at you.
elderly father dragging me.
I'm 74 and about dead, thank you, but
You are not.
they just don't care. People do
No,
not
it's
care.
they don't have that empathy factor we once did. That's something we all need to work on.
Hmm.
We really, really do. Now, did you? I know that mom didn't want me to have children. She worried, what it would do to me. And how did you feel when I got married then, and then started trying to have kids?
Well, I didn't want you to get married.
Yeah.
Uh, because of your condition and all. You didn't know what was going to happen,
Right.
and that's what I wanted. But when
Mhm.
it happened, and it was just another heartache and another worry
Mhm.
when kids come along. Wondering if they were going to be bad.
Yeah.
With these diseases and stuff, and uh, it really takes a toll on you.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
being
really
bad
does.
off and
Yeah,
all that pain. You hate to see them go through the
yeah.
pain. And then both of our children are special needs, and they actually have other things wrong with them.
Hmm.
Both are on the autism spectrum. One has cerebral palsy. One has severe asthma and other things going on that they battle. And that's what we say in West Virginia. We don't mean they're bad. It means they're bad off. It means they
Yeah,
have
yeah.
pain and suffering, and they struggle against
Now they both got
disease.
brilliant minds.
They do.
They
They're
really do.
amazing.
But they handicapped it. God knows what they would be if they didn't have those handicaps. They could do
Mm.
anything they want to do. Really.
Which they're pretty amazing now.
They
It
really
means
do.
it's harder for them to do things. It's tougher for them to do it, but they will figure out a way to
Yeah.
get where they want to
Yeah.
go.
They're very creative.
And I know that it's just hard on you to watch them struggle. Do you feel that, after having that first transverse myelitis attack that transected my spine, and then it triggered the spinal infarction, which led to more of the physical disability that I've been dealing with, do you think that is a reason that people should consider not having children when they deal with more physical disability?
Um, yes.
You do?
I
Okay.
really feel that way, but you never know.
Right.
The children could be just as healthy as they can be,
Mhm.
because I've seen it hundreds of times.
Mhm.
But, why go through all that pain and suffering for yourself? Because it took a toll on you too,
You
whether
did.
you realize it or not.
I know it did.
Uh, so that hurts that your daughter has to go through all that
Yeah.
stuff.
But you knew I was determined to have them. That's why I had all
Yes.
them
Yeah,
miscarriages.
well,
I was determined to have those babies.
well, you're headstrong. You'll do what you're going to do anyway.
So we have the two miracles. Now let's take another leap forward in time when I became severely advanced, and you, like you said earlier, you became my primary caregiver during the day while my husband's at work. What emotions did this cause? Having to cook for and care for your daughter instead of it being the other way around, me caring for you.
Well, I hope that I can stay healthy now. I've
Mhm.
been really blessed, um, and if I ever go down, I don't know what y'all going to do. To be honest with you,
Our cook and the chauffeur.
they all. I think one of the grandbabies, uh, not Erica's, but my son's in
Uh-huh.
South Carolina, said, "Papa, if you're not here, we'll all starve to death."
The cook of the family. Well, it's a good thing you're teaching Courtney, and she's
Yeah.
such a good chef. She can take over that mantle one day. All right, now, do you think it helped with you accepting what was happening to me when you did start going to those doctor's appointments instead of Mom always used to take me?
Well, now they've been so many doctors. Most of them I didn't like, um, but a couple that I really liked that would talk to you. Uh, it's not knowing,
Right.
they kind of keep you in the dark on everything, and
Right.
they're not really bedside manner. Is that what you would
Yeah,
say?
that's what you said.
Uh, they've not good, but the last one that we're all going to now
Mm-hmm.
has been real understanding and will take time to explain what's really happening.
Yeah, because these are complex diseases we're dealing with. They don't fully understand,
Well, that's true,
you know.
and this one will tell you
Mhm.
she don't know,
Mhm.
but this is what is happening. But I really don't know, this or
Right.
that. So she's honest. I like that part of it.
Yeah, like I'd rather people be honest with me, and I would rather them just tell me what I'm facing.
Right.
I don't want anything sugar coated. And when they make a mistake, which I've had a million
Hmm.
misdiagnoses because things are complex and they learn new things every day. I've been fighting this almost 41 years now, and actually the lupus longer since birth. So they're going to find out new things. They're going to go, you know what? We were wrong about that. And that was a completely wrong treatment. But tell me the truth and say, whoopsie, now we found this out. Let's go in this direction.
Correct.
And I appreciate that. I don't want to be lied to.
It's a shame we don't have
Yeah,
more doctors
yeah.
like that.
I don't want false hope, but I do want hope. So for me, the real hope comes in what I'm doing now, my own research, my own connection to those researchers and specialists from around the world. And I ask those questions. And when I find those things out that are coming soon or that they're working on now, I share them with as many people as I can because I want them to know too. Because what if they happen to be in a rural area where they don't have access to an MS specialist, or a neuro optician, whatever it is, they don't have access to these specialists, and there's a short supply of them, unfortunately. I want them to know that same information that I know. So if I hear it, I'm going to spread it, and I think we all should. And, I think having care advocates like you who go to the appointments with us also help tell our story to the rest of the family who don't understand. Because many of the patients that suffer from any various, autoimmune disease, whether it's fibromyalgia or lupus or MS or anything like that, they have somewhere along the way often been given a different diagnosis or an I don't know. You're going to have to go through 2 more years of testing before you find out. And their families get confused and even suspicious or angry, frustrated with them. They don't know. And if you have that care advocate who has been there with them, heard it from the doctors, and can help explain it to the rest of the family, it really helps. Unfortunately, there's a lot of personal relationships lost to people with chronic illnesses just because of the way that we don't have a definitive test for these diseases, where somebody just can't go, okay, you have cancer, you have Parkinson's, you have MS, you have, and these families are actually breaking up and not speaking anymore because they have suspicion of one another or they have hard feelings. And it's really sad. And I hope by spreading the message through shows like this, that, around the world, that we can stop that cycle. We can get that information out there.
Well, if anybody can do it, you can, because I have been to these doctor's appointments, and a couple of physicians' assistants have come in because the doctor was busy or something.
Yeah.
And they would start talking, then you take over the conversation, and you would lose her. She didn't know what that meant or that meant. And the words that I can't say or, spell, and but it just amazed me that she said, well, I've learned a lot from you today.
But it's true. I mean, we're our best care advocates, and our loved ones can be advocates for us. And speaking of which, why do you think it's so important that even those that aren't severely advanced take a care advocate, a loved one, a friend, whoever, with them to an appointment?
Well, so they'll know the truth, number one. And you can't do it by yourself, of course.
No.
And then they will know the seriousness of the disease and what can happen. And when they hear other family members or friends running or saying something they shouldn't say, you could explain it to them and correct them on it. And this will make life a little bit more congenial,
And one of the main functions you perform for me is memory.
Yeah.
Because I'll forget what the doctor said.
Well, I can tell you what happened in 1946. Right. You need another story? The first plastic cup that came.
But then another part of it is not just remembering what the doctor told me, but I will be telling the doctor what's been happening to me in the past month, and I'll forget things.
Yeah, and I know. In the last 3 or 4 meetings when I went in, with, and they'd ask you a question, and you couldn't answer, and so I would tell them, what happened.
Right. So it's not a wasted appointment.
Right.
Yep. It really does. It's beneficial to have a care advocate with you, no matter how advanced you are with multiple sclerosis. Now, Dad, what do you think is the hardest part about living with a child, grown or little, who has a chronic illness?
The hardest part is, I guess, just daily. I just put it behind me and do what I have to do, honestly. But it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But most people, the first thing comes to your mind is, well, I need a break. I need this and I need that. But you no longer got any freedom.
Right.
You no longer can do anything. You have to work around them. That's the biggest, hardest thing. Just daily chores, like mowing the grass and stuff. Well, I got to go feed Eric. I got to go do this. I got to do that. Okay, I can do this at 4 o'clock, instead of 3. You've got to really stay on top of things and keep things working. That's all you can do.
Right. All right, Dad. Well, thank you for joining me. And we're going to have a happy Father's Day, and happy Father's Day to all of you fathers out there in our listening audience.
My neighbor just brought me a gift, my little boy that comes over and
Yes,
sees
he
me every
did.
morning.
He's so cute. If you guys are out there like my father and the rest of my family, and you have a loved one living with multiple sclerosis, if it's your friend, your loved one, coworker, and you need more support because you're a great support for them, but you have questions about their care, you need actually to ask questions about your feelings dealing with them with their care or the things they say and do. To you, and maybe you have a little hard feelings about it, or you don't understand what's going on. You can join our Facebook forum. It's called MS&Me Friends, Family, and Caregivers Group, and it's a lovely group it's moderated by the husband of a person living with multiple sclerosis, and he does a wonderful job at that. Damien does an outstanding job helping the friends, family, and caregivers. There are no MSers allowed in that group, so we stay out of there. So you guys don't have to worry about what you're saying, communicating within the group. So ask any questions, be totally open, and that way you guys can be a support for one another. We also have our main group on Facebook, our main forum, which is the MS&Me Info Hub. And that way you can then interact with other people with MS as well and ask questions to those who are also living with MS. But we have many, many resources for you on Facebook and other social media like our website, Twitter, Instagram. If you want to visit our website, www.msandmemedia.com, it will have a list of those additional resources. That's msandmemedia.com. Once again, thank you all for joining us for our Father's Day edition of MS&Me interviews. Have a wonderful week.